Forever. Dog.
Welcome to the podcast for laundry. It's the only podcast that's meant to be listened to while you're doing your laundry. I'm so excited. Happy New Year. Happy 2019. I hope you feel refreshed, feel like you're starting anew. I know I am starting anew mentally. And I've got a very special guest to kick this new year off. He's Australia's sweetheart, or New Zealand's sweetheart. Oh my goodness. So that's a very rude thing to do.
It's okay
to mix up. Is that a thing?
No. I mean, no. I wouldn't worry too much about it, Brett.
I feel really. I feel like an asshole.
Honestly, don't sweat it. I think people get more worried about that than they need to. We're so used to it. It's really no matter.
He's New Zealand's sweetheart and becoming America's sweetheart. Guy Montgomery.
Wow, yeah. Thank you for that incredible introduction. It's so good to be here. Well, it's,
I insulted you before you even
It's
spoke.
Honestly, please don't make a big thing of it. It's really no trouble.
I'm pissed at myself.
See, and this is the sort of thing, this is no way to start the year, being down on yourself. New year?
I'm going to punish myself.
See, this is the sort of thing that I hate to see.
Mm-hmm.
A small stumble that honestly has no bearing on my day.
I'm going to put this fork against this heater.
No, don't. I'm not going to sit by and watch you put a fork against a heater. Well, evidently I am, but I'm not happy about it.
Well, you just got to deal with it. Soon this fork is this fork is going to be steaming hot.
You take that fork off the heater. You take that.
It's already pretty hot.
Take the. Well, that's going to leave a mark.
Well, I actually do.
There's no laundry for your body, Brett.
I do have. I've been doing this my whole life. If you want to see my scars,
I really would rather not see your scars. Can I say, have you got any resolutions for 2019?
Well, I have a lot of new resolutions. I've got this laundry business that I'd really like to take to the next level. Right now, we're operating in a DIY. You're actually in the
This
the
is
business.
the business.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This is sort of a laundry speakeasy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could I suggest maybe the first resolution for the business is I can't remember what they're called, but something to amend the aroma.
I don't know what you're.
I don't know if you're aware of this, because sometimes you're in a room or a place for so long that the smell it becomes,
It's the smell of detergent.
undetectable.
Yeah.
The smell is the smell of this is not the smell of detergent, Brett.
Well, I mean, I've got all these different detergents.
If you're shitting in the detergent, but this is the smell of shit. It stinks of shit in here, and I don't think anyone's going to want to come and do their laundry at a laundry speakeasy if the first thing they think when they step inside the building is this place reeks of fecal matter.
Well, thankfully, it's a drop-off. I apologize.
Even then, if someone goes to trouble of finding this place, they bring their laundry down here, the first thing they smell is a huge waft of shit in their face. They're going to want to drop their laundry off here. There are 5 laundromats in a 2-mile radius.
Well, 4 now. One of them burned down.
How do you know that?
Well, because I watched it from my little. I had to peek over. I've got this window up here that sort of is street level, but I saw the smoke billowing out. I was sitting in my laundry speakeasy, Brett's Laundrette Deluxe, if I refer to it by its proper name. I was sitting watching the fire happen. I don't know how it started, but I was here the whole time.
Was there anyone here with you?
I was alone.
Did anyone see you, around the surrounding hours?
Actually, I wasn't alone. I had a friend.
Who was the friend?
We don't need to name names. So.
I'm not a police officer, so I'm not going to get into your alibi, but I think for future reference, it would be good if you name names.
It's not so much an alibi. It's just what happened. I don't even consider it an alibi because I don't think I've been accused of anything.
Not formally, but you got to admit, you're a young upstart. You got a checkered past. You're trying to get this laundry speakeasy going.
What's this checkered past?
Well, before I come into any establishment or guest on any podcast, I like to run a little recon on the host.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to get into too many of the grisly details, but,
The checkered past, I suppose checkered is a very loose term you're using, but if you had done your research, you would have seen that any of the checkers that may have been checkering have been wiped clean. I have a clean slate. I did spend some time in prison, but it was wrongful imprisonment. So I think calling it a checkered past is it's rude.
You know what? I'm your guest. You're my host. I apologize. I just think you shouldn't talk about how many laundries burned down around you so quickly. If you want to keep that unblemished past unblemished, because it was so fast, wasn't it? I said there were 5, and I barely even finished the sentence, and you said there are 4.
Well, I'd be remiss to not take some pride in the fact that we are putting
even the language you're using now.
We're putting some of our competition out of business.
You just don't put the word pride next to arson.
Well, I didn't commit arson. I'm not proud of the arson. I don't even know if it was arson. It could have been a complete accident. These people that work down the street, they did a terrible job with drop-off service. People were complaining that they would be losing socks and stuff. I had my clientage. These are people that maybe have used their services before and were unhappy with it.
And they came to you.
And they came to me and they said, they lose my socks and stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to lose your socks. If you look, there's piles of laundry all around. I have a system.
There's a lot.
There is. It's a lot.
Seems like a pretty loose system you're running.
It may look loose, but that's because I have yet to build up the storage things that I want to do.
Look, I'm excited for you. I think 2019 is going to be a big year.
Thank you.
But there's just some small steps we can take around the place.
Okay.
That can help you realize that. For example, one of the big ones I thought when you called this a speakeasy. Mm-hmm. What if this was a forward-facing business? I'm talking street signs.
I would love to get legit this year. I think the speakeasy is a fun thing. I like greeting people at the door.
It's got to hold you back, though, because it feels a lot like I'm coming down just to some basement that smells like shit.
Mm-hmm. This is
like when you go to
this is an optics issue, is what you're saying.
Well, it's optics and it's also nasal.
Mm-hmm.
But when people go to a laundromat, they like to see maybe clean white walls, a beautiful polished tiled floor, dryers, washers, They like to smell.
Well, people aren't
a neutral to gently soapy smell.
You're seeing how the sausage is made. You're coming down here. The people that drop off, I just meet them at the door. I don't even know the door code, so I can't really leave here.
Oh.
So they might get a waft of the aroma that you described, but they're not seeing my system. It's a little sloppy. I'll admit it looks a little sloppy, but it's a system. It's a system that I trust and hasn't failed me yet. And I've got some clients that my clientage would really not like it if I screwed things up, and I haven't. And that's why they trust me.
Some of your clients wouldn't like it if you...
Not like those bozos down the street who just let their whole laundromat go on fire.
You think that letting it go on fire was part of the problem with their ethos?
Yes.
As a proud business owner, for example, you would never let this basement go on fire.
No. And shocking that they had this laundromat for, 60 years?
You know so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have to know about your competition.
I guess in a way you do.
Honestly, I think they saw Brett's Laundrette Deluxe rising, and they were like, "Let's just torch this."
Insurance fraud.
Take the insurance, or I'm not even saying it's insurance fraud. I think it's just that they are ashamed.
They were afraid of the competition.
Yes.
What? Anything's possible, Brett.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
But again, I just want to say I didn't.
I'm just
burn it down.
amazed that some of their clientele who weren't happy with the systems and the service that was being run over the street didn't go to any of the other 4, ordinary forward-facing laundromats.
That's the thing, is that they all have spotty records. For instance, just before it burned down, I had my friend Megan Keister sort of pay them a visit, and she was like, "That it's a
Even
it's
when you say pay them a visit, that's the wrong language. You say,
do you mean?
You just say, my friend went to the store, pay them a visit. That's steeped in mafia. That's
why are you bringing up the mafia?
no, I'm not. I'm just saying you got to be.
That's not.
And I'm not saying that you did anything, but you got to look at the bigger picture here. The way that people will look at this event that's happening, people might want to draw lines between, a laundromat.
Yes.
That you seem to know a lot about and have reason to be annoyed at. If it's other people's complaints about socks going missing.
Well, I was hanging out with Megan Keister the whole time. I never left. Like I said, I can't leave. So
she went over there. Over the way. She went in there.
Took a look, texted me, and said, "This is a sorry state of affairs." And then, shortly after this sad event happened, but they're probably better off because they would have been put out of business one way or the other.
Shortly after that, Well, look, man.
What's your turge?
I like to use Nappy San Oxy Action Plus.
Okay, so this is a brand down under.
Yeah, this is a great New Zealand brand for tough to get out stains.
Is this the name brand?
It's a pretty big name brand.
Okay.
I would imagine it's here. Maybe under, I don't know, they might have a parent company. But
this is true. One thing I noticed is that different countries have different names for the same product.
Yeah.
And I don't do as much traveling as I'd like to do because work keeps me here.
Yeah.
But I'm always getting ready if I'm
not just work. I mean, not knowing the code feels like that also keeps you here.
Well, I mean I wouldn't leave because I've got this work to do.
You never want to leave.
I don't want to leave. I feel comfortable here.
You could put like tape over the lock. You dip out.
Yeah, but the work keeps me here.
No one's rung on the doorbell since I've been.
It's
here.
not a prison, okay?
Okay. Didn't say it was.
They're not locking me in here and I'm stuck in here. I know what prisons are like.
Who are they?
The powers that be. I don't know. This is just an example.
I feel like we're getting off topic again, but
What's your turge? Yeah,
Nappy San. They got great ads, and honestly, the products get results. It's one of those ones. Growing up, my mother did a lot of the laundry on my behalf before I had the ability, and that was the detergent she would use. And then so when I started doing laundry in the house I grew up in, because in New Zealand often we have a washer in the house.
Yes.
Whereas here in New York City, you got to go down the street.
Yeah, and New York is an interesting beast. You could go down the street or you could go to Brett's Laundrette Deluxe.
Yeah, you truly could go anywhere in New York City. Anything's possible. But
I would say, and I've had some bigger guests on that have this a career. Not comparing you to them. I'm just saying that the marking of a bigger guest or not, I think always comes down to if they have in-unit washer dryer.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you've had people on here who do have in-unit.
Yeah. Todd Barry was very braggy about it.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
And I mean, because that can't do much good for your business. Because I mean, this is a conversation, but it's also an opportunity for you to not just tell the listener, but also to tell me, and maybe word of mouth could spread. I could tell some of my friends about the system you're running here.
What was the name of the turge again?
Nappy San Oxy Action Plus.
Nappy San Oxy Action Plus. I want to check out one of these ads.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna.
That's
what's
one
your
thing.
because your Tide is your turge, if I know correctly.
Tide is my turge.
Having children changes your life. With my little boys, my hands are full. I don't have a lot of time in my
Wow,
day,
is this what
and I can't
your
spend
life
it
was
washing
like growing up?
clothes. I used to waste time looking for stains. Now, I use 1 lid of Vanish Nappy Sand. Its Oxy-Power Lift formula uses
This is good.
thousands of active oxygen bubbles to lift even
Who's
the
this
most
woman?
difficult
Is
of
she famous?
states, giving me
Not
more time
particularly.
for the things I love.
It seems like
Vanish.
growing up in
Trust pink,
New Zealand.
forget
is really
stains.
nice.
Yeah, that ad was representative of every New Zealander's childhood growing up, incredibly.
Yeah.
It can all be encapsulated in one 30-second spot for a washing detergent.
You're just splashing around in the kiddie pool.
Well, we're splashing around, but when we're not splashing around, we're falling down. We're getting some of our clothes dirty.
This is
Mud
true.
stains on the knees, grass stains on the elbows.
But luckily, Mom is there, and she can wash with nippy sand, and then just hang it and let the air dry it.
That's
and,
right, yeah.
The clothes blow in the wind.
I love to air dry my clothes. Mm-hmm. I much prefer that to drying my clothes. I've had a suspicion since I've been using the dryer to dry my clothes here in New York
Yes.
that they've been shrinking at a rate that is virtually unnoticeable, time by time. But as the weeks go by,
I've noticed
that,
it too.
T-shirts that previously would reach just above my elbow, are now two-thirds up to my shoulder. And like the ones that went over the belt line are now just barely kissing the bottom of my belt line.
Are you doing your laundry yourself?
Sometimes I do my laundry myself. Sometimes if I'm feeling glamorous, I want to use a drop-off service.
A drop-off service might be cutting corners, I think.
I always say cold wash. Does that do anything if you say cold wash?
Well, it depends. You need to look at the tag, and that'll tell you if cold wash is right for your garment.
Do you ever shrink any items here?
I've never shrunk anything.
That's a good point of difference. That's something I would look to emphasize, if you're looking at getting the word of the business out.
Well, yeah, my clientage, they actually they talk about how back in the day, a lot of them are from Little Italy, or at least hang out there, and they were like, oh, you'd look up and there'd just be shirts and pants.
Your clients, a lot of them were living in Little Italy.
Some of them live there. Some of them live in Jersey.
Yeah.
Or elsewhere, but mostly hang out
Interesting.
in Little Italy.
Who makes up the majority of your clientage?
I'll never tell. I can't talk about it, and that's part of Brett's Laundrette Deluxe. The service, it's service with a tap on the nose.
Traditionally, people aren't afraid for it to be known where they get their laundry done. So that seems like an almost. Not that anything's unnecessary. Everyone's looking for a point of difference, in this competitive marketplace. But it's just a weird one to emphasize. I would look at saying no clothes shrunk, no socks left behind.
Mm-hmm. I've never lost a sock.
Yeah, you keep saying. Mm-hmm. I believe you the first time, Brett.
Okay, yeah. I just I want to emphasize that for the listener if they want to test out my service.
Okay.
So let's paint a picture. I have a pretty clear idea what growing up in New Zealand is like, small backyard, but with a lot of love. A mom in a sort of beautiful white laundry room, spacious, enough room to really take out a bed sheet and really give it the old toss. And
That's right. Occasionally, the sides might touch the walls, but bed sheets are soft, so that's not really a problem.
Yeah. So what? Your first time doing laundry, was it exciting? Was it nerve-wracking?
It's usually a pretty... Well, actually, it was nerve-wracking. If I'm remembering correctly, you don't usually have strong, palpable memories of your first laundry experience. But
I do.
Okay.
You want to see my first scar?
I don't really want to see any of the scars, Brett.
Okay.
But, well, you're going to show me anyway, so...
So this one right here, right by my little nipple, this was the first time I had ever been burned by my mother with a fork, because it was my first time doing laundry, and I forgot to put the detergent in. I was just so excited. I was like 5 years old.
It's so young.
I don't know what I could have done differently. I guess she was telling me what to do.
Don't.
And I shut the lid, and she was like, no. And then I said, what's wrong? And she's like, you have to put the detergent in. And I was like, this is my first time. And, obviously in the 5-year-old talk, I don't remember exactly what I said, because my memories hadn't really started to form yet. But
Sounds
I do
like
remember that.
memories were forming pretty strong,
Yeah.
and understandably so. That sounds quite traumatic.
It might be my first memory.
Huh. Yeah, well, thanks for sharing.
So yours.
Laundry seems to occupy a pretty huge part of your life.
Oh, it's the only podcast might be listened to while you're doing your laundry. So, yeah, it's pretty big podcast. And then obviously I've turned it into a career. Sort of turned my back on chasing the comedy dream.
Well, my first laundry memory doesn't really. Sorry,
All right,
you're happy.
let's jump ahead because I don't want to talk about my happiness. Maybe the first time you ever did laundry after leaving home.
That would have been at the university hostel at Cumberland House.
Okay, I'm picturing something very colorful here. Why don't you paint it for me?
Pretty, your garden variety laundromat layout. It was we'd do coins. The thing where you'd push have you used these systems before? You put the,
Yes.
the gold coins. We got gold coins in New Zealand, and you put them in, you push it in, and
Such a great feeling. It's just
that is a really good feeling.
people talk about holding a book, and then it's like there's nothing like holding a book. It's not the same reading it on a tablet. There's nothing like just pushing those coins in, hearing them lock.
The satisfying crunch
Yes.
of metal on metal on metal, and then you take it out, and the coins are gone, but you're not too worried about that. You don't feel ripped off because that can only mean one thing. That sweet machine's going to kick off, and you're going to hear the churning of water. You're going to hear a slow release as your clothes become sodden in soapy, bubbly liquid, and they start churning around and around they go. Could be cold, could be...
Keep going.
I feel like I think everyone's got it. No, I'd really rather not. I think everyone's
Do
got
it.
And it could be cold, could be warm, it could be hot.
What is it? What'd you pick?
It's warm. Yeah, it's Brett.
Keep going.
And then suddenly they're clean. Your clothes are clean, and you hang them out on a clothes horse, and then you got a whole.
No, just walk me through it.
I feel like I told you the pertinent bits of information, and then you got all of your clothes to choose from. You got your A game. That's the stuff that
they're
gets dirty
warm.
first.
They're
well,
warm.
not if you air dry them. They're just regular temperature, nice and clean. They smell so
Blowing
clean.
in the wind.
No, we've dried them inside, so they're all folded now, and they're in their little home in their drawers, and everyone's wearing clothes.
And your mom is there, and she's
No.
the blonde woman. Right?
No,
I'm picturing your mom as this blonde woman.
that's not my mum. That was an actor, so she was promoting the product. She probably got a check for that. So that was me. That's what it was like for me doing laundry first time out of home.
Yes, honey. That felt great.
Yeah. Other resolutions for 2019. What are you thinking?
Well, I have had relationship problems and stuff. I think I want to be more social. I want to be more open.
Yeah.
What about you? What are your resolutions?
Or just one thing that might help with the sociability is getting out and about, putting yourself on the street.
Well, I figured to have more people in the Laundrette Deluxe,
Yeah. So if you build it, they will come methodology.
There's some clothes that get dropped off here, and they're like, don't even bother, returning them. They're just like these are for here. So I've been sort of building different.
What sort of people are dropping those clothes off?
Well, it's just my clientage. They will have.
What do the clothes look like when they drop those ones off?
Well, they look like a mess. There's a pile actually that we cleaned last week. There's some lingerie and like tuxedos and stuff.
What do they do? What are they dirty with?
These had some blood stains. Maybe somebody
Blood stains.
was doing some hanky panky, and then Aunt Flo visited, I assume.
Not necessarily. How much blood?
A lot. Yeah.
A lot of blood, yeah.
So I got
And they
rid
don't
of the
want,
blood.
They don't want those clothes back.
They don't want them back, but if they did want them back, they'd be spotless. And I've sort of created a little throne for myself
Out of laundered, bloody clothes.
Well, they're not bloody
Presumably-
anymore. I used a
Formerly bloodied
spot
clothes.
treatment of the salt water and just
I just feel like I don't know if you're in a great look, and I don't want to come in here and tell you how to live your life. It feels a lot to me like you're washing clothes for the mafia, clothes that they want burned and destroyed, and that doesn't mean physically
so
burned.
weird that you'd say that.
I'm just sort of putting together some of the component parts of the conversation we've had so far.
It's so weird.
Why is that so weird?
You're a real Sherlock there. you're making these connections, but historically Sherlock always would make the wrong connections first. He'd maybe go down one level, one alley of thought, and then so he would be like, no, it's not this, it's this.
So
you're eventually gonna put the pieces together in the right way, but right now you're forcing puzzle pieces together that don't quite add up.
It just doesn't feel like there's a second sort of strain or current of direction in which these pieces fit together.
Well, you'd be surprised. I have a wealthy clientage, and they're not. Historically, the mafia's lost power in New York City.
But
John Gotti's fall.
You're talking a lot about not being allowed to leave. This is a speakeasy. You got clientage.
I'm allowed to leave. I just don't know how I'd get back in.
I told you we just put some tape over the lock.
I'm scared.
How long you been down here?
A couple weeks now. I took a trip to Philly for a live podcast for laundry taping with Robert X. You could check that out on our feed. But also, that's the only time I've left in the past few months. Yeah.
And you want to be more social. But
I would like to have
more
people down here. Maybe not.
I think
for a recording. I'd love to have you back.
Yeah,
just to hang out.
First thing we'd want to do is do something about this smell, huh?
I truly, there's a hole, and I think the smell is coming from there.
Well, if
and
you know
just
where
pour
it's coming,
detergent over it, but the smell returns. I don't know what to do with it.
Well, you could cover up the hole. You could hire a professional. You could get someone else whose job it is to deal with holes. You get a septic expert down here.
Somebody to clean this shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll do that.
Well, it's just,
I'm used to it though. It doesn't really bother me.
But if you want people to come down here,
but are you actively smelling it now?
No,
you're getting used to it.
That doesn't make it okay. It's still a hugely pungent smell. I've been down here 30 minutes roughly?
Would you like a sort of a cap of Tide to sort of hold near your nose to smell that instead of the smell of
I guess sure
matter?
Anything that'd be great. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll just pour you a little of this. I should also mention if at any point during the conversation you want to turn the tide, maybe you could just take this cap and spin it in another direction. You can actually turn the tide of the conversation. So just say you're turning the tide because
when I spin it, or do you want me to say that now?
Well, no, don't say it now unless you're actually turning the tide.
But when I do, well, thank you. This helps a little bit.
Yeah, just hold it near your nose and
so. But when I put it down and I spin it like spin the bottle.
Sure, yeah. Usually,
that'll be a waste of Tide.
Well, no, I'm going to pour this back in the bottle.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually, I do this with my little Tide Pod, Poddington 2.
That's a cute name.
Yeah.
Great flick.
Great flick. Great laundry flick too.
Yeah.
He's working in the laundry room.
Beautiful laundry scene.
Yeah.
That shot when he runs down the line of all the fronts of the dryers or washers around.
Yeah.
We could talk about other scenes though.
Let's talk about your podcast.
Okay. So I host a podcast which has recently been revived for a 4th season.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. We made the decision ourselves on the back of no public demand.
Okay.
Or some, I imagine, but
I think this is people talk about this podcast. It's truly a creative endeavor.
Yeah, so it's called The Worst Idea of All Time, and it's a movie review podcast where my esteemed associate Tim Batt, who's a New Zealand comic, he and I watch and review the same movie every week for a year.
Yes.
So it's a movie review podcast wherein the movie does not change, and we did it for a season with Grown Ups 2. And then we did
This is the film starring Adam Sandler, Kevin James, Chris Rock.
That's right. And then we did a season with Sex and the City 2, which is a very long film.
Also, surprising that you didn't start with the first film in either of these series.
Hindsight's 2020, Brett. But you know, when you're making decisions, you know, in the
I think this is
heat of the moment.
One of the beautiful things about a sequel is that they could echo the first film and maybe play off of things.
Some things that they've set up.
Yeah.
Well, wish you'd made it out of the room to help guide us in our decision-making process.
Yes.
And then we did the Zac Efron vehicle, We Are Your Friends, where he pursues
He's a DJ,
becoming a DJ in Los Angeles. And then we took a year-long hiatus and have recently embarked on our fourth season, which is watching and reviewing Sex and the City, the movie.
Yes,
the first
so going
movie.
back. So now you're kind of in a postscript. You're like, oh, this is where that was going.
Yeah. Well, now we're putting the pieces together.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what was it? What has been your favorite film to review?
It's hard to answer this question honestly because, the rose-tinted glasses of nostalgia mean that, of course, I look upon Grown Ups 2 with such fond memories.
Yes.
But if I was to revisit any of the episodes in which we discussed Grown Ups 2, I'm fairly certain my opinion would come across quite differently. But it was the shortest of the films. It was, I think, very well suited to the podcast because it's a cynical cash grab of a movie. There's no effort to communicate anything more than just Adam Sandler and his friends got together for a month of a summer and made millions of dollars.
Yeah. And they are on vacation in this sequel too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're both movies are vacations.
Yes.
But Grown Ups 2, Sex and the City 2, certainly the hardest. We went through a very dark mental time recording that season, like truly quite a despairing time.
Yes.
Both of our lives, Tim's personal life, I think, took a hit during that season. So he processed a long-term relationship breaking down in the midst of.
I've had multiple relationships break down during the course of this podcast.
That's a surprise to me because you seem like a real firecracker. You seem like a real catch, Brett.
Yeah, I was actually broken up with on the show.
Oh man!
And then I had another person. Well, she passed. It passed on. So.
Oh yeah, you hate to hear that, but again, I just feel like there are some little changes that you can make that would really help gear you up for a healthier, more sociable, and maybe romantically engaging life.
I would love to get laid more this by people.
Do you have a bedroom?
Well, I've got a bunch of piles of clothes I sleep on.
Well, I think that's got to be one of the if we're looking at the situation from the perspective of someone who might not know you, who you want to go on a romantic date with, maybe be involved with physically.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, the way things are as they stand, you're going to have to lure them down here.
Okay. Well, this is maybe a language choice that I wouldn't have made that you just said. So you said lure them down here.
Yeah. I just don't imagine a lot of people, thinking it's going to be fun to come down here in the first instance.
You're not having fun?
I'm not specifically not having fun.
We're friends.
We're friendly, yeah.
Yeah. You're hanging out. You'll probably hang out for a while after. Maybe toss some clothes in the wash.
I got it.
Toss what you're wearing in the wash, actually.
No, it's still clean enough. I
don't know. How long have you been wearing them? This is like late afternoan now, so you could maybe use a freshen up.
I reckon these will get me home.
It's a Friday, so
Nah, these will definitely get me home. No worries. I don't want to stick because then if I wash them here, I got to wait for them to dry.
Tonight you're going to go out to the club, I guess, or whatever, and you're going to need some,
I'm not going to go to the club.
Fresh clothes. Why not just the clothes you're wearing, but fresher?
Look, but I really am
probably going to try to fuck somebody tonight.
No, I'm not going to be trying to do that, but I am going to be trying to get on the train before it's too full after this. So I really appreciate being offered to stick around. But this is what I'm saying is maybe if because one of the huge things or ways in which you're hamstrung socially and romantically is you can't leave. And
I
so
don't think
you're trying to get people down.
You keep posing this as a negative. I think it's nice to. I don't know. I spent a lot of my life this year in small enclosed spaces. There was times when I just didn't have a home, and that sucked even more.
Yeah,
There were times when I was just going from laundromat to laundromat, sleeping on the benches and on the machines and stuff.
I can
and
see
that sucked.
This is an upgrade, and I can kind of see where the fear of leaving this place comes from because you're afraid if you leave it, you'll lose it. But that's not going to be the case. Well, why don't you ask who's the landlord here? Why don't you ask them for the code?
The landlord. I don't talk to the landlord. I don't want the landlord snooping around, messing up my piles and stuff.
What do you mean snooping around? What's this?
I don't know who the landlord.
What's there to snoop for? There's nothing to snoop for.
Well, there's nothing to snoop for. I'm just saying I don't want the landlord up in my grill.
But it's so hard. I feel like you're really trapped in quite a.
I didn't hear what season 3. How you felt about that?
We'll
show.
We'll get back to that. I feel like you're changing the topic of conversation.
Well, it seems like you keep. I want to interview you, and you keep really reflecting me.
I think your life is so much more interesting than my life, Brett.
Okay.
Look around you.
Well, it's not that interesting. I'm living in a basement, doing laundry for people. I had a time in prison.
That's all pretty interesting. That's pretty unique.
Bounced around from New York to LA, making enemies, killing people, whatever. Like it's
Pardon?
nothing that I want to really
killing
focus-
people?
Well, that's just slang.
That's slang for what? Killing people's definitely a crime.
It's time for the season 3 review.
Well, if you want to listen to a review of season 3, they put this song in the trailer. But when you talk about a checkered past, killing people's right up there with as checkered as a past can be. Can we turn this music? Can we please turn
it up? Yeah, sure.
No, can we turn it off? Can
We are friends now. You'll always hang out in the basement. Come on. That's the song about us.
No, you've had a bit of fun. You've changed some of the lyrics around a little bit. You got the melody
I'm actually
right.
really good at that. Song parodies and stuff.
Cool. That's cool. What a cool skill.
Thanks.
You know where that skill would do well?
Yeah.
Out on the street, out in the real world.
Well, yeah. I kind of tried to do comedy, but people were mad because
You got a lot of great experiences to talk about.
Yeah.
You got a unique angle.
But people are like, Brett, you're not allowed on comedy stages anymore. And it's like, who says who?
Well, probably the bookers, because it's their show.
No. There was a rumor that I had jerked off in front of some comedians, and that's not true.
There's a rumor about you doing that?
Yeah.
And you're telling me you didn't do that?
I didn't do that.
You're an honest guy.
I'm an honest guy.
I don't know, man. From what I've heard, that sounds like something that you
Sounds
might
fucked
have
up, yeah.
You might have done.
It sounds fucked up that somebody would do that.
Yeah, it's a pretty weird thing to do.
Well, that was eventually we found out it was Joe Rumrill who did it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would not have expected that of Joe.
Yeah. But he's a layered person.
Yeah. Well, I guess as much as you might like or want to do comedy again, once something like that's attached to you, especially if you did it, it's not your space anymore.
Yeah. And that's a shame.
Would you consider that part of your checkered past?
No, because again, it's a thing that I was absolved of.
In the eyes of?
I got out of prison for it. Joe's serving the rest of that term.
And Joe definitely did it.
Joe is serving the rest of the term. Let's just put it at that.
Man, I really am starting to feel pretty weird about coming down here.
Yeah.
This is
you want to do some laundry.
I guess.
Can I take your clothes off?
Pardon?
Take your clothes off. Do a load.
I'll
take my clothes off too, so it's not weird.
That's not going to make it any less weird, Brett. I'm gonna keep my clothes on actually.
Okay.
And I think you should too.
All right. Try and stop me.
I'm not gonna try and stop you, but I'm not gonna make eye
Try and
contact
stop me
with
from
you.
getting naked.
I'm not gonna try.
We are friends.
No.
You'll never be alone again.
Well, Brett, would you look at that? I'm probably gonna have to get out of here pretty bloody lickety quick.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. I just remembered I really.
You got to do a show or something. Yeah.
No, I don't have to do it.
I miss doing comedy. It's tough. We were probably trying to get ready for the
I just came down. I wanted to help, man, but you're making it so hard.
Did someone send you to help me?
No, but
Don't leave us hanging. How'd you feel about the third season of your podcast?
it was the wrong choice of movie.
Okay.
It was an earnest attempt at filmmaking.
Well, it was really great having you on the show. I'm glad we are friends. I am your friend. You'll never be alone again.
Wouldn't say that, Brett.
You'll never be alone again. You could say that to me. And then come hang out with me.
You will be alone again.
Yep, but
when I
not
leave, you'll be alone.
We are best friends.
I wouldn't say that.
Never be alone again. That's us singing to each other.
You got to get that smell sorted out.
Okay.
You got to.
Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. Any plugs? Any shows you got coming up in the new year?
Nothing to speak of now, but you know.
Because we are your friends, you'll never be alone again. Well, come on. Well, come on.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam and liking our page.